And the next question commences with you, Mr. Kavanaugh. Is it necessary to build a new courthouse considering how bad the economy is at this time? Could this project not wait for a more suitable time? How would you judge and address this situation considering the high cost of building? How much exactly will this cost? Where is the money coming from?
Well, I am in favor of a new courthouse. It's already been settled on by our city council and the mayor and the judges that it is going to be built. It's never a good time to build anything that costs almost $11 million, but it's a better time now because we have trades that are hungry for work. That project will be going out for bid shortly. We have people that have been waiting and signing the union hall books for months now looking for work. We think that the prices will probably come in pretty good on those bids. The courthouse we have now is obsolete. It's functionally obsolete. It's dangerous because of the way the prisoners are shuffled in and out of the courthouse. The cells are not up to ADA standards. Outside the court, it's very safe. We have a lot of police officers running around with that are armed, and we've never had a problem there. So I am in favor of building a new courthouse. I think now is as best a time as any. Thank you.
And to you, Mr. McLean.
Well, I would acknowledge that there are some safety features in that courthouse, but I think that any new courthouse should be built exactly where the existing courthouse sits. The courthouse that we have now is not falling down around us. It can last a few more years, and if it costs more money to put the courthouse back where the existing courthouse is, which is in a very close proximity to the police station, then I say we should wait until we have the funding available to do it and do it right. I certainly don't agree with squeezing the courthouse in where the mayor would like to squeeze it in between the library and the folks that live on the streets adjacent to it. There has never been an incident in that courthouse yet, and I think that we can wait a few more years, save our money, and let's do it right.
And the next question begins with you, Mr. McLean. To what extent have you practiced in the area of criminal law, family law, complex civil legislation?
Well, I have practiced a lot of criminal law. Most of the criminal law that I practice now is misdemeanor criminal law, so I'm in that district courthouse a lot. I have also practiced a lot of family law. Over the last 15 years, I've represented a lot of people in family law cases, and most of those are referred to me by other satisfied citizens and attorneys, including Mr. Kavanaugh. So I've had a great deal of representation in the area of family law. And in addition to that, I have been involved in civil litigation, but I have not been involved in any products liability cases, which I would classify as complex cases. The general civil litigation that I have been involved in has not been that complex.
And the same question to you, Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. For 25 years, I have been involved in the general practice of law, which included criminal defense. I have represented people on capital crimes. That includes first-degree murders. It runs the gamut. In my younger days, I practiced a lot downtown in the recorder's court and the circuit court. I've done a lot of misdemeanor defense work throughout the state of Michigan and all the counties that surround the Tri-County area. I have extensive experience in family law. I used to do a lot of divorce work before I became the city attorney. That's one of the things that I gave up. I did a lot of juvenile court work before I became the city attorney. I've represented plaintiffs in complex civil cases. I've had houses retrieved from people who had them foreclosed by the county for not paying their taxes and got them back. I've defended corporations in lawsuits. I've defended people who have been sued in the district court here in the city of Livonia and throughout the state of Michigan. So I have extensive experience in all courts throughout the state of Michigan in both civil and criminal law.
And this next question begins with you, Mr. Kavanaugh. What do you think about the growing prison population? What response should society have to prison overcrowding?
Well, there are certain segments of the prison population that don't need to be in prison. You may have heard about the 3 strikes law in California, where we had people who were convicted of petty crimes, three retail frauds or larceny convictions, and they ended up spending many years in the prison system. Prisons should be used for people who are violent criminals, people who are deviants, people who haven't learned their lesson after multiple offenses. We used to have a lifer law here in Michigan. We called it was for possession of drugs, where it called for a 20-year minimum. We found out after a while that resulted in people staying in prison who really didn't belong there. They were the mules, the people that carried the drugs, not the drug dealers. So it's a tremendously expensive system we have. I believe that system can be modified. As a prosecutor, I have no problem people doing the time that they're supposed to do, but I believe that we can modify the prison system to lessen the cost to society. Thank you.
And same question to you.
Well, I'm greatly concerned about the overcrowding in our prisons, and I think that it shows that a lot of what we do to try to prevent repeat offenders does not work. However, we have been making some better strides in that area, and one of the strides that we have made is the drug court here in Livonia. Now, the drug court is primarily a court of last hope for people that have severe addictions. These are people that would otherwise end up incarcerated when they committed their next offense. I'm happy to report that I was involved in the creation of the drug court as far as I drafted the articles of incorporation, and I was also responsible for obtaining the IRS approval for a nonprofit corporation. But drug court is a very good way to prevent people from repeating. It's a very strict probation, which helps people who are in the throes of their last chances before they go to jail.
And the next question begins with you, Mr. McLean. How could the costs of judicial administration be reduced? Can you give us a specific example of how you have reduced costs in your law practice?
Well, I believe one of the ways that we could significantly reduce the cost of administration in the 16th District Court is to severely limit or eliminate altogether the position of the magistrate. I worked in the district court when I was going to law school, and that was a long time ago. But the judges managed to handle all of their docket without the need of a magistrate. All of the things that the magistrate does, the judges can do on a regular basis. And there is a lot of downtime in that district court in the afternoon. So it's not like they're pressed for time and they need to hand this off to a magistrate. That is one of the ways we could eliminate part of the cost in the district court there. As far as my own practice, I've had difficulty, but one of the ways that we have helped reduce the cost of that practice is by going to shorter work days.
And Mr. Kavanaugh.
Thank you. In our district court, we have a lot of people that come in for accident cases, and they're the victims of these traffic accidents, and they show up for an informal hearing in front of the magistrate. They take a day off work to do that. Then the person that got the ticket wants to appeal it to a formal hearing, and they have to come back as witnesses again. In some other courts, they have pre-formal hearings where you don't bring in the victim of a traffic accident and make them come off of a day of work, and you try to settle that case without them being there. We would not have to pay those witness fees, and the people who do have to take time off work wouldn't have to lose the money there. A lot of courts will do telephone pre-trials. You don't have to bring in attorneys on both sides to come in and talk to the judge for 5 minutes. All you need to do is do it over the telephone. The other thing we use is technology. There's nothing wrong with faxing things in. A lot of courts will accept that now. This court will not. We have internet access for briefs to be filed. There's nothing wrong with having those filed. There's a lot of savings that can be had from technology.